everybody. So today I am doing the 200 questions tag, and I was tagged by Matthew Aronhalt. He is a friend of the channel, and he is doing an amazing thing over on his channel. He has come up with a list of his top 200 films of all time, and he's doing an individual video on each one of these 200 picks, and he has details. He's actually rewatching each of these films, which is really amazing. And I don't agree with all of his picks, but I think his reasoning is always sound, and I certainly can respect all of his picks. And so he came up with 25 questions that go along with his 200 project. So the question is called Vincent, and the question is, what is your favorite movie? So I guess that is his favorite movie, which I have to see now because I've never seen it. My favorite movie is Pixar's Up. It's just a perfect film. I wouldn't change a single thing to it. It's about overcoming grief and dealing with loss, forgiveness, and adventure and travel, and it's beautiful, and I love the music, and it's just my favorite. My other top two would be Little Mermaid and Breakfast at Tiffany's. Next question is Back to the Future. What is your favorite film involving time travel? And my answer would be Back to the Future is my favorite. And I really like movies that involve time travel. And I thought about Meet the Robinsons. I thought about Prisoner of Azkaban, which is my favorite Harry Potter film. But I decided to go with X-Men Days of Future Past. I really like how they were able to weave in time travel with Wolverine going back to try to get Mystique to change her decision. And I think Mystique is the emotional core of that film. I think it's pretty amazing that you have so many Oscar-level actors in the X-Men series. And I just really, really thought it was surprising, and the special effects were great. I really liked Quicksilver in there. Last year was such a great year for superhero movies. It was really fun to be part of. And X-Men Days of Future Past is one that I think is gotten a little bit forgotten with some of the other films. The next question is, it's called Howard, the Spirit of Ang Lee's Hulk. And so you're supposed to pick a comic book movie that everyone else hates that you like. Now, I'm not a huge comic book movie, superhero movie person. So most of the ones that everybody hates, I also hate. So it was hard for me to come up with one. I really like the X-Men. And so I guess I didn't think the X-Men 3 was that bad. It's not good, but I didn't think it was as bad as some people say it is. But that's the only one I could really think of. I also liked Avengers Age of Ultron a lot better than most people, it seems like. I thought it was great. Okay, the next question is, 2 versions of Dracula, Quasimodo, and the Mummy, and how many versions of Batman? What's one character you will happily see different interpretations of? And the answer to this question, Cinderella. I love Cinderella. I reviewed 5 different versions on this channel, including the most recent one. And it's just a story about hope, and that if you are a kind person, you work hard, good things will happen. Next question is, one Droopy Knight, your favorite animated character. That's really hard to say. I love animation. It's my favorite. So favorite character? Ooh. So the one I decided to go with, just because he, to me, reminds me of childhood and just makes me happy whenever I see him, I went with Winnie the Pooh. Is A Bug's Life an underrated Pixar film you love? And I admit this movie has problems, but I really love the message of Monsters University about how the first dream that you have may not be the right dream. And I think that that's a really unusual message for a children's film that, that are usually about go for it and you will be able to achieve your dreams. But this is about life may not work out the way you think it will. And the next question is, The Last Starfighter, an 80s movie that should be cheesy to you and yet is just so right. And so there were 2 that I thought of for this. One was Dirty Dancing, which I think actually has some nice character development, and I like the chemistry between Jennifer Grey and Patrick Swayze, and I think it's overall, I know it's cheesy, but I like it. And then another one that was John Hughes' film is Some Kind of Wonderful. It kind of fell through the cracks, but I actually think it's better than Breakfast Club. I really like the characters. and I really like the journey that they go on. Okay, then the next one is The Godfather, your favorite mob movie. And I'm not a big fan of mob movies either. I recognize the skill and I recognize that they're good movies, but they're just not favorites of mine. There's none that I love, except for I thought of Guys and Dolls. I really love that. But as far as like a traditional mob movie, the only one I could think of that I really love is On the Waterfront with Marlon Brando and Eva Marie Saint, and he basically plays the brother of this mob kingman kind of guy who was convinced to throw a fight, and he had the chance to really be a great fighter, and so now he's working at the docks, and they're treating them terribly, and they keep lowering their pay, and nobody's going to say anything because nobody wants to be the rat. Nobody, and there's these investigators that are looking into it, looking into the mob, and nobody wants to be the rat. And so that's kind of where the story goes, and it's beautiful. Carl Malden plays the father, and it's an amazing performance. He's, I think, one of the most underrated actors ever in the history of Hollywood. He's just so great whenever you see him. And so, yeah, I think On the Waterfront is definitely a must-see. I have the Criterion Collection, which I highly recommend if you get a chance. Okay, Citizen Kane. This is a classic that you truly love. I love Citizen Kane. I have it here. Awesome. Have this awesome 70th anniversary box set that's really amazing. That wouldn't be my favorite classic. I mean, I might go with Snow White, but the one that came to mind immediately was The Wizard of Oz. The Wizard of Oz has a character that feels out of place, feels like she doesn't belong, and nobody's listening to her, nobody cares, and she goes on this journey where she realizes all the things that she was missing. She started out feeling like no one was listening to her, but she realizes all the things that she really missed and that she loves. And I love the witch and the Tin Man and the lion, and I love all the music, and I think it's just a story about hope. Over the Rainbow is my favorite song, period. It's Gone with the Wind, and it's you're supposed to pick a cinematic romance that you like. And there's a lot. Romance is one of my favorite categories of movie. I think I would go with When Harry Met Sally, and I really like seeing their relationship grow through over a course of many years. I think the dialogue is really funny. I love Nora Ephron's writing, and I like the chemistry between Meg Ryan and Billy Crystal, and it just makes me laugh. Okay, the next question is Gone Girl, a movie with horrible characters that you really love. And I am in the minority here. I didn't really love Gone Girl. I just didn't buy that plan could get pulled off that perfectly. I just thought it was kind of preposterous. And so it took me out of the movie, and I didn't really like it. It's very well made, but it didn't work for me. I know. I'm crazy, but that's how I thought. But as far as a movie with horrible characters, that's really hard, because to me, likable characters are actually kind of essential to my enjoying a movie. I'm just a very big character person, and so if I hate everyone, then I'm really not going to be into that movie 9 times out of 10. So the only one I could think of is the movie Before Midnight, and it's only because they're really unlikable in that film. Like, we know Celine and we know Jesse from the other 2 films, and so I know they're good people, but in that film, they're really they're very argumentative and vindictive, and they're just at this caustic, toxic place in their relationship. But because we have that buildup, I'm kind of willing. It's really good and it's incredibly well written, but it's tough to watch because you love these characters. And this is Evil Dead 2013, a remake you actually like better than the original. And for that, I would say Sabrina. I love Audrey Hepburn. She's just a goddess. But I think that she didn't really have chemistry with Humphrey Bogart in the original. I like the original. You can't not enjoy it on some level. But I think actually the remake with Julia Ormond and Harrison Ford and Greg Kinnear, I think is a little bit better. I think they have really good chemistry, and I think it's beautifully shot. And I just really like Julia Ormond. And Harrison Ford, I think, is really great in the role. Guardians of the Winter Soldier, your favorite Marvel Cinematic Universe movie. And that would be The Avengers. I really like Guardians of the Galaxy, and I really like Captain America Winter Soldier. Those were great, but in the end, Avengers really brought me back into appreciating comic book movies. Because after I saw Green Lantern, I was just like, I'm done. These movies suck. They're not for me. And because I didn't really consider, I'm not a huge Christopher Nolan Batman fan. I like them and they're really well made, but they're just not like films I get super passionate about. But so I was just kind of like, these just aren't for me, these movies. And I saw Green Lantern and I hated it. And so I was just kind of done. And then I saw Avengers after people just, come on, see it. And it was so much fun. It wasn't all dark. And the kind of comic book movies that I like, personally, are movies that are still fun without being stupid. And they're not all broody and like so many of the comic book movies that are made now, especially Man of Steel. But they managed to have a little twinkle in their eye and have a little bit of fun while not being like a Batman and Robin or something just completely stupid, or Catwoman or something like that. So for me, the Avengers will always be the best. I love the team. It's very exciting, and it's also really witty and funny. Oh, and Loki. I love Loki. Okay, so this is Kenneth Branagh's Shakespeare Trio, a Shakespeare film you like. All the Kenneth Branagh Shakespeare films, but I would probably go with Much Ado About Nothing, just because I think even though the casting is a little strange, it's just so funny, and I think Emma Thompson and Kenneth Branagh were really great in those lead roles. I also really like the Joss Whedon produced one that he just did with like a bunch of his friends in his house. Like I just really kind of like being a part of that, and I think it was a fun experiment. So this is How to Train Your Dragon 2 was good. An animated sequel that was actually good and not just a mindless cash-in. I think you gotta go with Toy Story 2 on this one. A lot of people think it's better than the first. I don't know about that. I think they went in a totally, instead of just recreating the first, they went on a totally different path and made this action-adventure comedy, and the comedy works really well, and the emotion with Jesse is so moving, and the decision that Woody has to make is really a really difficult one. Okay, who ever heard of The Lodger, a lesser-known film from a popular director you love? I don't know if I would say love with this film, but I really liked Cinderella Man, directed by Ron Howard. I thought that Russell Crowe was really good in it, and Paul Giamatti is in it, and Renee Zellweger, and it's this moving story about this boxer, and he's trying to support his family, and I thought it was really well done. It has been a while since I saw it, but it kind of got ignored, and it's got a terrible name. I think that's part of it. So stuff happened in Interstellar, and it was awesome. Movie you only partially understand, but still get wowed by. I can't really think of anything good with this one, to be honest, aside from Interstellar. Yeah, I guess Inception, maybe. Even though I understand it, every time I watch it, I see new things and get new layers. So I guess that, I don't know. That one's a hard one for me. Kira, teddy bear scene, a weird movie moment that you love. I would pick, in the movie Make Mine Music, there is a short called The Whale That Sings Opera, and it is the strangest short I've ever seen, with this whale that sings opera. And the strangest thing about it, to me, is that they killed the whale, and then the narration says, sorry, spoiler, but the narration says, because people don't like beautiful things, and they kill them. Like, that's the worst message I've ever heard for children. And so it's just so bizarre. It's such a weird movie, Make Mine Music, that I don't know. I just kind of like it because it's so strange. And it looks really weird, this whale like singing opera. So this is Sweeney Todd Goes Into the Woods, your favorite stage musical adaptation. That's really tough for me because I love musicals so much. But I go with Sound of Music is my favorite. And I actually think it improves upon the stage musical. And I love Julie Andrews and Christopher Plummer and the story and the heart. And I think all the songs are great. So this is 12 Years a Slave and Schindler's List are rough. movie you love, but is sometimes hard to watch frequently. So I think any war movie you could pick for this. Certainly Schindler's List would be close to the top of my list. As far as another one that I think is really well done, I think you could go with Amistad. That one's really tough to watch. And Saving Private Ryan, I think, is something that's important to watch, but it is tough. Ferris Bueller, You're My Hero, your favorite teen comedy. And this is definitely Clueless for me. I love Clueless. It came out when I was a freshman in high school, and it just like spoke to me. It felt like they were talking about my high school, and I think it totally holds up. It still makes me laugh. Scenes like the speech about the Haitians and there's no RSVP on the Statue of Liberty, and the scene when she's driving on the freeway. And I just like that through the great writing, they're able to make these really superficial characters so likable and give them such heart. So maybe that would be a movie with horrible characters that I like. But they're not horrible because they're so well written. Okay. Love Actually is actually a movie I like. A romantic comedy you're not afraid to admit liking. Now, if you guys are familiar with my channel, you will know that I like a lot of romantic comedies. In fact, I did a whole defense of the romantic comedies where I talked about what makes some good and what makes some bad and why I think they're a really important genre. So I have no shame when it comes to romantic comedies. I have a whole section here that are all romantic comedies. My favorite romantic comedy is You've Got Mail. And I also really love Shop Around the Corner that the movie was based on. And I love the chemistry between Tom Hanks and Meg Ryan. I think the writing is so great by Nora Ephron. It's the kind of writing I would like to write. If I could have somebody as my muse, that's who I'd want. I just think that it's a movie about work and how we identify with our jobs and they become part of who we are. But it's not really who we are. It's also a movie about books and commerce and New York and just so many lovely things. So I love the music in it. I love all the supporting cast, Greg Kinnear. Okay, then the next one is What the Heck is Chandi Chowk to China? A movie you love that you get the feeling few have heard of. And I will go with Melody Time, which I really like. It's one of the package films from Disney, and it has a couple different shorts. And then the two main parts are the Johnny Appleseed, which I really love, and I love the music and the Lord is Good to Me song, and I really like the folk art feel of it. It looks kind of like a Grandma Moses painting. And I also really like the Pecos Bill segment with the real Southwest look, and it's very funny and irreverent. And this is James Cameron, the king of sequels, a sequel you like 80 million times better than its predecessor. This was also really easy for me because I hate the original Rescuers because I just think it's too mean-spirited, and I just think it's gloomy, and I don't like what they had to do. I didn't like it when I was a little girl with them abducting this little girl, and Medusa's just too mean. She's on the screen for too long, and it's just a gloomy picture, I think. I don't like it. And I like The Rescuers Down Under, though. I really like that. It's so funny. Or the scenes with the John Candy Bird were so hilarious. They made me laugh so hard. And you get enough time with Cody to get to know him, and he's not abducted at the very start of the movie like Penny is at the very beginning of The Rescuers. She's already putting the note in the bottle, and you hear the whole sad story from Rufus the cat, and you get just so much more of a hopeful feel where you see Cody riding the eagle, and you get the flying sequences, which I love. And there's actually very little time spent with McLeach. He is meaner in a way. He's throwing knives at him and stuff, which is really bad, but actually I counted it. He's only in the movie for about 13 minutes, whereas like Medusa is just there so much, and she's so awful. I think that Bernard and Bianca are more sort of endearing in the second one. I like the addition. I like sort of the action-adventure feel of the second one. I think it looks much, much, much better. And I like the music from Bruce Boughton in it. And overall, I just think it's better in every single way. So that is my thoughts on all of those questions. Whew. Let me know what you think of my answers if you have any comments, and check out Matthew's channel. I think you'll really, really enjoy it. So thanks so much, and I will talk to you later. Bye.